Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary Tips of the Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in countdown mode to Season 2, which starts September 3rd, which is just a week away. And today, Monday, this will be the last Monday for a while that I will be bringing the podcast to you. And the format will change in a week. We're going to go back to Thursdays, and we're going to just do it once a week, and they're going to be a little bit longer. The next season will start in September 3rd, and it will go through March 25th. That'll be the last show of the season. And between now and then, we are going to be doing some offers. We're going to have offers, and we're going to be doing a couple of giveaways. And by this time, you've heard a little bit about the giveaways that are going on with what I have on social media. So I hope that you are finding that and engaging with that. And of course, you will see some new things going into Patreon and into Ko-Fi for Season 2. And that both will have their own new focus and new reason behind putting content there. So for the most part, those two spaces are usually takeaways, not giveaways, as people generally donate in those spaces. But what I am doing in those spaces will be slightly different than what you would normally see. I will use that as a focus in Season 2, at least for one episode, to talk about monetization, because one of the things that I've noticed is that everybody is looking to find ways to make money on Patreon with their Patreon. How do you get more patrons? How do you get more people interested in what you are doing? And it is a give and a take, and I have a lot of things that I'd like to say, but the best way to tell you about something is to do something and to show you how it works for me and what I really believe that I want to put in that space so that it can be of benefit to you and to me at the same time. But certainly it isn't being mentioned because I want you to donate to the show, but that these will be spaces, first Ko-Fi, to look at things that I'm working on behind the scenes. Of course, Patreon may do some of the same things. It will show you what is being built, like Avalon and things like that are going on in the background as I go. Hopefully I will have a lot more to share with you there also, with marketing and advertising and social media, to help you, the cosplayer, in this very safe space. So there will be a couple of giveaways, and you will definitely hear more about that. There will be 3 that I have planned as of right now coming up. Also take note that they will not all be coming to Instagram only or exclusively or at all. There may be a call to check out another platform that I'm on in order to take advantage of the giveaway that I am running. It might be Twitter, it might be LinkedIn, might be YouTube, who knows where I will post that information. I will let you know when the time comes. We will talk about that outside of the podcast, because talking about that is a little bit dated in the information that comes out. So this will be a very dated podcast, but that's okay. So the first few giveaways will be something a little bit smaller, a little bit Funko Pop related, and we will have more information on that. We've got 3 that I have ready to go. I've got everything waiting right here in my little cosplay room that I create things in. It really would be great to be able to do a lot more in terms of giveaways and in terms of Kickstarters and in terms of promoting and fan films and all of that good stuff. Really, there will be a part of Season 2 that is about giving back. It depends on how everything goes with COVID-19, of course, as we are moving through August and into the end of the year. But we really do hope that when we approach 2021 and everything that has gone on, and that there may be an all clear by that point, that there will be a way to give back on the podcast. So stay tuned for what we have in store in 2021. That is all I have for you today. 4 more of the dailies before we get back into the season. I'm very excited about that. This is Scotty B with Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary Tips of the Day. Bye-bye. Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary Tips of the Day. This is Scotty B. This week we'll be counting down to Season 2 HoCS Rebirth which will be coming to you September 3rd. Stay tuned for everything that we'll be talking about. Yesterday we talked a little bit about giveaways, and there were some notes in the show notes to let you know where you can go to find out a little bit more about that as we travel through the week. Of course, every day we'll be talking a little bit more about what's going on. Today we're going to be talking about expanding. And my tip for you is you have to start somewhere and then you grow to something else. But there are things that I will be expanding to next season that I am excited to get started in and a little nervous to get started in. The first thing will be that I will be reaching out to many and have reached out to many cosplayers to bring you more of what you want and the stories that you want to hear from those folks. More interviews coming to you. We had 16, I'd have to look. I should have fact checked before I got on the air and said I had this many. I know I had 19 guests, but we did not have 19 interviews. And I did not share all of those interviews on YouTube. There were a couple that did not make it to YouTube, haven't been aired yet, may not ever go on YouTube. And that's okay, because it's not just about duplicating all of the content in every space, but there will be more interviews in a shorter season, next season. And I really do hope to hear from you. Of course, if you do want to collaborate and be on the show, there could be some opportunities coming up in season 2 that you can send me an email. I've already received all sorts of feedback. Of course, ScottyB@HoCSpodcast.com is where you can reach me about season 2 and really beyond, because there will be more seasons. I do not want to, at this point, stop making the podcast just because I'm getting burned out or tired or that I don't have anything else to talk about. I have many new and interesting things to do, and I'm very excited with the opportunities to talk to more of my guests and panels that will be on the show. And I hope to bring you more of what you wanted. Also, coming up will be some new and different YouTube content. So we're going to get me in front of a camera and we're going to see what happens. It's not just going to be the repeat from season 1 content that I've been putting out there weekly right now. There will be some new stuff and things that you will not see or hear on the podcast itself. So totally different content on YouTube. There may be some Twitch stuff going on too. We'll see how that goes. And there will be live content. Before I talk about all the Twitch stuff, live content, Q&A, that will be weekly. We will put some time aside for you so that I can get into the community and start building that skill to be on live, because I really don't have it. I record a lot of my content. I do not spend very much time with you, one-on-one or otherwise, in that live space. Instagram has a way to do this. I'm sure Vero has a way to do this. There are feeds that I can get on live, even YouTube and Facebook, and I'm pretty sure LinkedIn. Not that you're going there, but hey, you should try it. LinkedIn has a lot of underpriced attention right now. There are places that you can go live. I think even TikTok has a live, but I probably won't be getting on TikTok. That's a story for another day. Twitch TV, it's a huge undertaking, something that I've wanted to get started on for a long time and just have not done it. I am a relatively big gamer. I play a lot of Hearthstone. I play a little bit of other Blizzard games, and there are some that I would just like to get started back up in. And of course, by the time all of this gets into motion, we would hope that PlayStation 5 would be out, and we will see if that fits into Twitch TV for me, and that I can connect with you there a little bit differently than I do on YouTube or with the website. Oh, did I mention that? Yes, there will be a website being developed and all the programs, of course, Patreon, and all the different spaces that I'm going to attempt to get into to add value to what I offer here in this space on Sanctuary. Number one, though, for me, and the changes and the expansions will be getting into Vero. And Vero is that Scotty B official space that I have where there is more behind the scenes, there's more me in that space. It's a much more closely knit group. I think it's a great platform for cosplayers. I have a whole podcast dedicated to it. That is where more of the focus will be, not necessarily just on Instagram and Instagram TV, but we will be moving postings first to Vero, and the Vero content may or may not be mirrored in Instagram. So there will be a bit of a dialing back, although there already has been a dialing back on Instagram as we expand into much more content for you coming into season 2. If I have a tip here for you in expansion, it is to really scale at a pace that you believe you can handle. Do not ever attempt to just do this all at once. It can be so overwhelming. Start with one platform, work your way up, build daily, build weekly, build monthly, have small goals, achieve little steps at a time. Never feel like you have to expand at a rate that you're not comfortable with or that you don't believe is a scale that you can compete inside of with yourself. Never compare yourself to how someone else is running their program. Think that you need to be that, oh my goodness, these people are doing everything. They're on every platform. They're everywhere. They're all over the place, and they're getting so much attention, and this is exactly what I want to be, but I have no idea how to duplicate that or emulate that or create that. As you get some footing inside of the industry or whatever it is that you do, you will begin to grow in both skill and you will gain attention. So it is a process, but consistency is where it's at, and we will be consistently expanding as we go on. And hopefully this gets easier on all of us as we go. The dailies have been quite an accomplishment for me, and I do thank you for being here for all of this time that we've been doing the dailies. So again, this is Scotty B, Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Tips of the day. Bye-bye. Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary tip of the day. This is your host, Scotty B. If you need to reach me as we count down to season 2, feel free, Scotty B at HoCSpodcast.com. Of course, you can find me on the interwebs on social, and you can follow me there if you really feel that you want to, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. The information is in the show notes for the cast. Look forward to seeing you. Of course, I have been spending time this week talking about what's going to be coming up in season 2 rather than focus on the tips, which was the whole idea for having all of these podcasts come out in the interim in the first place. And it is actually more content than possibly all of season 1 and 2 combined, given that I have been doing dailies for a couple of months. And I appreciate all of the attention that has gotten from the community. Thank you so much for all of the downloads and for going through all of this content. It is very amazing. The kinds of things that I see coming through from my notifications every week continue to amaze me, in that it has actually been able to scale the way that it has leading up to the second season. But that also isn't exactly why I do it. But I do hope that there is some value in what is being created. Today I'm going to talk about the 3 things that will be going on as season 2 unfolds: the website, YouTube, and the podcast. Of course, we will try to add more things into the mix that I've already talked about earlier in the week. Feel free to go back to those episodes if you want to learn more. Making these 3 things work together, the website, YouTube, and the podcast, is my goal. And I do believe that if you are creating a funnel, here's your tip. If you're creating a sales funnel, that is what you would do with your audience. So you create an audience that knows, likes, and trusts you. You use social media to build that audience. You bring that audience to your offer, whether that is your YouTube channel, whether that is your podcast, whatever that case may be, but that everything is funneling traffic into your website, which is your offer. And there are ways that you can build email lists and other things so that you can have a more personalized conversation with people who are giving you that signal that they want something from you, not just those drive-by, I'm going to get something that I want people, but that they are your true fans, that they have your back, and that you have theirs. Very important with what you're doing. And of course, that all of this leads, in that direction, that it is authentic and it is something that you want to provide for others who create cosplay or who need something in that space. I haven't been asked this, but I've been thinking about this, and the question is, why would I not have taken a more general approach? So I have master's degrees in business and management. I know a lot about marketing and advertising, both organic and paid. So why not just create a podcast like so many others that are out there in the interwebs and universe that probably would have gained a little bit more traction if I simply would have offered this to anyone and everyone? Well, that really depends. And I really didn't want to serve the anything and everything market either. I didn't want to try and find a niche, which is really just defining a target market or a demographic. That wasn't the point. The point was that I found something that I liked and that I could serve people who have something in common with me, that there are a lot of people out there who have many talents or who are hobbyists or that are in cosplay for the hobby, for the competition, for what attaches them to the industry to build skills or to be able to share a fandom or to be able to make a difference in the life of someone through donation of time, through taking up a cause. Not necessarily that you make a living from it, but that you can. There is a common thread. So that was what I looked for. Not necessarily just getting that gold YouTube button or anything like that, but something that I want to be for cosplayers is to be able to believe that the content that they create is worth that they can get their silver button, their gold button, that cosplayers can be the undeniable choice for influencer marketing or brands to make deals with in social media or in media in general. When I see Alice and Tabitha on Netflix or on YouTube with Netflix, when I see someone make a Sweet Tarts brand deal, when there are cool things that go on, when creatives can use brands as another method or a means, or that corporations are now starting to realize the value of the online space, it's a good feeling. Doesn't mean it's the only reason why we're here, but it's a good feeling when I know that there is an entrepreneurial spirit within the cosplay community, and that a lot of you do have your own businesses on the side or otherwise, and you are making an impact in your community that is so huge that you spend the time and the energy and the resources on your YouTube channels, that you create at scale undeniably good work being done. And what I hope to offer to you through season 2 is the method by example that I can set these things up and show you, here you go. Here is what I want cosplayers to be able to do so that they can reach an audience, that they can find that niche and that group of people that will support what they create. It isn't about me being supported. It is about a give and take inside of the community. I will find my tribe. You will find yours. Let me help you do that. So let's create a balance between all of the skills and abilities that you have inside of cosplay and all of those skills and abilities that you have outside of cosplay. You are doctors, lawyers, physicists, scientists, and so many other things. And you're cosplayers. And it all starts with the funnel, and it all starts with how you reach your audience. And that's where I will leave you today. 2 more days to go before we get into season 2. I'll see you tomorrow. This is Scotty B. Bye-bye. Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary tip of the day. This is Scotty B coming to you daily, second to last time until season 2 launches on September 3rd. I cannot wait to get started on everything that'll be going on in the next season. But first, there are a few things that I'd like to talk about during this countdown week as we go on, as we proceed. And of course, if you need to reach me, comments, or to be on the show, or to offer a tip or anything like that, and want a shout out on the cast, please feel free to email me, scottyb@hocspodcast.com. You can find me on social and follow me if you like, or subscribe to my channel and hit that bell. It'll be in the show notes. Today I'd like to talk about programs and tips that I have in creating them. This is how online programs generally work. You use a site like Kajabi, or you could do this on Patreon, or you could have versions of it across platforms. They could be hosted on different websites, or they could be hosted as private videos on YouTube, or whatever you decide works best for you. But that they are, in fact, a way to get from A to B. So that's what this program will do. It's a rather large and comprehensive way of creating a lot of different downloads and a lot of step-by-step, do this, do this, do this, and take these actions, have this community to support you, and have these groups, and have this time set aside by the person who creates the program to work with you for getting into it. This is a huge endeavor, and I certainly hope that I can get it stood up on a website before too much time goes by. It takes a long time to think these things out and to create a universe for which you can, A, have a minimum viable product that everybody can like, but that it is also an ongoing process. You continue to update it. You continue to use it as a platform to teach, to coach, and to add value. It is not a get-rich scheme. I want to be very, very, very clear about that. It is something that I just feel like I want to create. I've seen a lot of goods and bads and uglies as far as coaching programs that exist online in many genres. And there are a lot of business coaches out there. I am not going to be one of them. If I'm a motivational coach or speaker or whatever it is that I do, I will always start in cosplay first, and that the offer isn't there because I believe that so many people will download it on day one that I will get rich off of that. And I've seen sales funnels work very well with a minimal amount of people, and that comes with a very strong buying signal right then and there. And you send them a link, they sign up, they give you your money, and you have a huge push to that. Just like I'm doing with the podcast, there's like a week of pushing on something, but that you create the funnels, and that it is collaborative, and that we put this all together because there are benefits to doing this for a community, both for myself and for you. You learn from creating these programs, but that it will always be something that will be there, that it will be ongoing, that it will be a way for us to communicate, for you to communicate with others in a safe space. Not necessarily a guarantee of success in this industry, or that it will be a bunch of how to build things, but that it can evolve over time. Avalon is just simply the name that I chose because it makes sense for the community, for me, and that there will be a way for us to collaborate that protects both your time and mine, because it's very important that we have a very limited amount of time to spend on cosplay, even though it looks like we do nothing else. The program itself will have levels, just like any other sort of online program that you could find, and it is certainly not going to be a one-size-fits-all sort of setup. And of course, things that I will be producing on the side will give me the opportunity to work with people one-on-one, should they choose to do so, and understand what I am working on and with them. Coaching is part of that, but it definitely won't be about how to build a cosplay. I'm not the person to go to for that. There are many other people. There are many other tutorials, but part of what I want to do will have a community, and part of that will be free when it is available, and I want to make sure that it stays that way. I'm not necessarily the person that you need to learn from, both in cosplay and on cosplay, and that there will be tremendous amounts of resources for marketing, advertising, and everything else that I can possibly make into a comprehensive universe for you. That is my cause. That is what will be taking shape in 2021 as we crash into it from what is possibly the most ridiculous year that has ever been, and that this is an investment in cosplay, cosplayers, and my own personal growth. But please be aware, understand, it is not about me. I will be creating this, but it will be not to bring fame and fortune to myself, but it's really about what I can offer and what I can learn from creating that offer, and what I can learn from you in that space. Not necessarily just everything that I'm taking or will have as a result of putting together a program of this scale. I sure hope it is something that can take place sooner than later, but I did want to spend more time talking about it. And again, I do have time that I've spent talking about it in the past in this evolving, mind-changing sort of thing that I'm working on in the background, and hope to stand it up someday soon. Can't wait for tomorrow, the last daily cast for a while, and then we'll be getting back to Thursdays, and I will have that content schedule that will be available to you for Season 2. This is Scotty B, Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Tips of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary tip of the day. This is your host, Scotty B. You can reach me at scottyb@HoCSpodcast.com. You can find me on all the social medias that there are out there. It's always in the show notes. And this is it, folks. The last daily until, well, for quite a while. Might be after March. I might change it just a little bit because it'll be just the HoCS daily once that gets started back up again. Who knows how that will go. I had a lot of fun producing daily casts, and I did want to make sure that I committed to that once I did tell someone that I was going to do it. I was very unsure about how all of it would work, and it is by far some of the most laborious casting and recording that I have done since I've started doing it, where you have to really find the time for not just recording many shows at once, but also finding time to edit all of those shows and then upload all of those shows, and then later compile a week's worth of shows so that you can put them on YouTube later as like a whole set for the week, which will be ongoing into Season 2. So if I haven't mentioned it, Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary Rebirth is next week. Season 2 starts next week, and I hope that it is more than just a podcast. Thanks so much. Again, if we have, by this point, the giveaway should be all set, and I thank you so much for everyone who was involved with that, and that first giveaway really, it's nice to just be able to give back sometimes. Why Rebirth, and how many times have I talked about this? And why am I really rebooting the feel of the podcast? Or am I rebooting the feel of the podcast? And I guess there is a yes and a no after thousands of downloads and all of the impressions that goes along with that on YouTube and in all of the social spaces. Tens of thousands, if not more impressions. I mean, it's just, it's a lot if you think about it or spend too much time on it. I did figure out what you wanted to hear about and what you did not, which doesn't mean that I won't stop talking about the things that you don't want to hear about, but that I will include much more of what you do. And what you really want to know about is monetization, and what you want to see more of is cosplayers. You want the interviews and you want to talk about the money, and that's fine, because after all of this, I really do want to help people realize that there is a way to monetize without breaking your own back, without spending every second of free time that you have trying to create offers inside of Patreon or other platforms that are pay-for-play. And I mean that by you create tiers or whatever you do with those systems, or that you just create ways to have people donate to you, but that you do it on somebody else's website, and that you ultimately do not control that site, and they do take quite a big chunk of money for what you offer. And a lot of people do prints. There are a lot of people who either have digital or physical prints that they have to continually create, and everything that goes into creating that, versus a way in which to communicate to people, not just fandom or following, but the information that can be useful for those people in those spaces. So we're going to work very hard to add more value to you, the cosplayer, listening, watching, and we're going to go as deep as possible on the topics that I know, the topics that I have 20 plus years of experience in. Not necessarily cosplay, because I'm relatively new to cosplay, but I still have a lot of time into the things that I do talk about here on the cast, and I will make sure that I will have guests giving you insights and providing more storytelling for everything that they've done to help you and to understand more about why and just more about cosplay in general. An understanding of the con space. Greater insight, more fun, more interaction. And of course, it'll be a little bit of a shorter season this year with a better focus, because I've had one season to work out some of the kinks. Of course, there are always more. A lot has changed over the course of the year, and I've gotten a little bit more comfortable both with the camera and the microphone, so that's helpful. And I sure hope that we can do more of that and continue to grow. I hope to have a few surprises for you along the way and to be very consistent with the programming, which also means more of an investment into all of the time that I spend with it, as if I didn't spend enough time, and really pushing to create. So again, we'll be running officially from September to March 25th being that last episode, and we start September 3rd, which would have been Dragon Con, and that was going to be the whole thing. It was either going to launch at Dragon Con or over Dragon Con weekend and then be live at New York Comic Con. That was the whole idea, and then I was going to actually do the giveaway. The first giveaway was going to be at New York Comic Con, and it was going to be something completely different than what I did. So that might have to wait until season 3, and I hope that we have enough going for us by then to do it. And again, this is still quite a bit. That's still a long season. That's still a lot of content. During all of that, YouTube continues to be weekly, and we will have Twitch coming soon, as well as creating a website, which this will be website number 4 for me at this point. I've created a few. Let's hope I get it right this time, and we'll see which platform that has everything that I want it to do all there, so that I don't have to spend $42,000 on a functional website, which is just a bonkers amount of money. But that's really what they cost. If you go through all of the process, or all of the steps of creating a website, it can be very expensive. You're probably looking at me like, why? Like, well, if you want a good framework for your website that is absolutely 100% optimized to drive the right traffic, there's a lot that you hook up to it. And I'm very, very excited to get going with the first season. Very excited to bring that content to you. And of course, to be able to build more with you in this space that is always a safe space for cosplayers to share their stories, their insights, their experiences. And as we continue to grow together, I'll have more stories to tell you for what I do. This is Scotty B with Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Thanks so much again, and we'll see you next Thursday for Rebirth Season 2.